Alrighty, folks. Welcome on back. And what we have for you here is a run of Chrono Trigger Jets of Time, and we're doing race percent. I will let the runner explain that in a minute. But speaking of the runner, that is going to be onefreefitz. He will be doing this run for you today. And he also has a couple of lovely folks on his couch with him to do some commentary. So Fitz, welcome. And if you would please explain to us the category that you'll be doing, and of course introduce your lovely commentary crew.
Of course, yeah. So I'm onefreefitz. I will be playing some Jets of Time, the randomizer for Chrono Trigger. These are the race percent flags. If you go to the website and click the race button, that's what we're talking about there. And then I've added on a bit of randomization, which I'll let my commentators explain. But yes, we've got on the couch Lord Batsy and Mershana. They are both incredible community members. Lord Batsy ran like a new player program where I was a camper with Mershana. It's called Camp Specchio. And then Mershana and I ran our second one. So glad to have them here, and I will turn it over to them.
Thank you. I'm Mershana. Fitz is an amazing community member as well, and I'm joined by Lord Batsy. Do you want to explain a little bit of the settings we've got, Batsy?
Sure. So today we're playing Jets of Time, a Chrono Trigger randomizer. We are playing with boss randomization, which means the bosses at the ends of dungeons will be shuffled about. We're playing with gear randomization and healing item randomization, which shuffles around weapon and armor bonuses. It could degrade them a little bit. It also changes the healing items. They could be stronger, weaker. We'll see. It can really affect strategy when it comes to, magic and stuff. If an ether isn't enough for a level 2 spell, for example. So we will see in just a second.
All right. I think we're all ready to get started. Fitz, you ready to go? Let's get going. In 3, 2, 1. Alright, so we'll talk a little bit about the randomization and the end goals, because this game is unique in that it has 3 and I see we've got some names for our first 2 characters. Thank you for those incentives. These first 2 characters are randomized as well. Each character location, there's enough to pick up everybody, but they are all different. Nice.
Yeah, I was going to say that I see that there were 6 characters for this last one, but it looks like we can only fit 5. So I guess do Akira. Yeah. Well, I mean, just take the first 5 from what was in there. So thank you so much for those donations for those names. Appreciate it.
Yep. All right, so we're starting out here. We're going to get a little quick cutscene of the Millennial Fair, and then we will get the epoch, and we'll be able to start clearing. We have access to 2 time periods, that is 1000 AD and 600 AD, and as we proceed going through dungeons and looking for their key items, we will open up more of those time periods. Batsy, you want to talk a bit about our go modes?
Yeah, so this randomizer has 3 different go modes, because Chrono Trigger, of course, itself has multiple ways to finish the game. So you can find go mode by going through the Tyranno lair, and you need the ruby knife and the dreamstone and the gate key to get access to prehistory to go Tyranno lair, Ocean Palace. You can find Frog and the 2 pieces of the broken Masamune and go through Magus's castle, and then also finish through Ocean Palace. Or you can get the clone and the Chrono Trigger and the pendant for access to the future, and that is the Death Peak Black Omen go mode. And in that go mode, Queen Zeal at the end of Black Omen will be the final boss, so you don't have to fight her and Lavos.
Right, so right now Fitz is doing his initial sweep, which is checking some shops for typically about 5 key items: shelter, revives, some heals, some mid-tonics, and some ethers. As well as going to the snail stop where he can pay to pick up his first key item. we're not playing with price increases or reduced money, so he's able to buy that key item right off the stop.
Yep, and it is 1/2 of the Masamune, so already we're looking at possible Magus' Castle Go mode. You always got to kind of keep that in your mind when pieces of it show up.
Yep, he does have to find that character, but he does have access to that Go mode because we have that era at this point. This is our second key item pickup, Carpenter's Wife.
Yep, and this is the one key item pickup that's totally free. You just got to talk to the carpenter and then his wife. And it's the Chrono Trigger, so there's a piece of Black Omen Go mode.
So Fitz will come over here and pick up a few tabs that are around the world as well. Get that speed tab. Nice.
Very important speed tabs, especially with Luca in the starting party, who is fabulous but very slow. And
we have made some slight tweaks to the speed of her, if I recall.
Yes, in Vanilla she starts with a speed of 6, and in Jets she starts with an 8. And Robo has had the same adjustment, and Marl, who starts with an 8 in Vanilla, now starts with a 9, so that she's still faster than Luca and Robo.
Yep.
But that said, a safe speed to outspeed most enemies, 13's pretty good. 14 is absolutely what will do it, and anything faster than that still feels amazing. So the more speed tabs, the better.
Yep. Being faster than the enemy means on some of those fights you actually want to take instead of run from, you can just clear them out with a full spell really quickly. As mentioned, there we go. Got the cat. Very important, pet cat.
Our run is validated.
So, as Fitz finishes off here, he's got a few more tab locations to pick up. He'll then head over and get his third character, which you can pick up pretty quickly as he continues to go around this world. Batsy, what character do you prefer to play with in this?
Oh, goodness. I mean, as long as I have my girl Luca, I'm usually pretty happy. So this would be a fantastic start for me. Luca and Ayla is a great pair. That is, there's a lot of power here. There's pretty much your highest physical damage character and your highest magical damage character. And Ayla doesn't require a visit to Specchio to learn all of her techs, which Luca does. She will need to learn magic, but she will learn 3 techs before that, and if one of them is Fire 2 or Flare, then you are cooking, literally.
Yep, and we just saw Fitz go prep the bridge. That is one of the checks, but you have to go to the bridge and talk to them first before you can go to the cook in the castle, and then go and finish getting that item. So it's good to do that check in your initial sweep, or start at least.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the typical first battle taken, because A, it gives decent experience, but you can usually kill really quickly with most characters. And B, that experience is usually enough to get a couple of techs at low levels, depending on your characters.
Yes, and in the Guardia Forest grinding route, Fitz will probably take a second fight. So we'll get Dino Tail and Protect, and then the second fight that he'll take will give us one more tech on each character. And Dino Tail and Protect aren't the most useful start. Dino Tail is very useful near the end of the game, but Ayla's stats need to grow before it can do much.
Yeah, its damage is based off of the difference between your max hit points and current hit points. So if you don't have a lot of hit points yet, it's hard to get that to be really strong.
Exactly.
Oh, triple kick. Nice to get.
Triple kick. And Mega Bomb. All right, Mega Bomb isn't the best because it's not a full screen wipe, and it's not, it doesn't go into very many double techs, although if you find Frog with Leap Slash, Line Bomb's not bad. But it is pretty good damage, and that, if you're having a difficult seed, Mega Bomb will get you through it in the beginning, if that's what you got. And look at that. Third tech is Fire 2, so now we're really cooking, because Fire 2 and Triple Kick, Roshana, would you like to talk about that?
It's one of my favorite skills. I am team definitely Ayla and Luca. usually with a healer such as Robo, who can also do a little damage on the side. But yeah, that gives you a wonderfully strong double tech that uses both of those, and it can just demolish everything. It's fabulous.
Mm-hmm. Especially, I think the thing about this randomizer, and probably a lot of randomizers, is it's not necessarily about the specific things you've found, but the situations you can deal with. And the double tech blaze kick, I mean, the only thing it doesn't cover is full screen damage, but double techs can't miss, so that's great. It is one of the highest damaging techs that will hit a single target. So if you've got Blaze Kick locked in at the beginning of the seed, you've got to be feeling really good.
And we'll be getting our third character here. So who is it?
Let's find out.
Frog. Nice.
All right.
Frog has some good dual techs, as we were mentioning, and is a good healer. So I personally would be pretty happy with this party.
Yeah, I would be happy to see this too. Frog is, Frog in the randomizer is kind of like, it depends on the situation, whether he can be a really good addition to your party, or he can be like kind of whatever. But, with Ayla and Luca, you've got the potential for Drop Kick, for example, which is just Blaze Kick without the magic damage, which is useful when things soak magic damage. You can do Frog Flare, which you can do some really neat stuff with, since, Frog Squash is like Dino Tail, using the difference between max HP and current HP, and there are a lot of enemies near the end of the game that will reduce your HP. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with this party, and that is the second piece of Magus' Castle Go mode, so you definitely want to be thinking about that. Magus' Castle is the longest Go mode, but it is also like, it's probably the easiest Go mode, in the sense of you can go into Magus' Castle and be fine at a much lower level than Death Peak or Tyrannosaur.
So you can kind of see that healing item rando showed up there. Our ethers are only curing for 8 instead of for the typical 10, which means that Fitz was expecting to be able to have enough MP to get that bomb off, but was too shorter than expected.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to kind of pay a little bit more attention and adjust your strategy, which he did great on the fly by throwing it real quick in the battle there.
Absolutely.
All right, so Fitz is going to head out, and we're going to start going into dungeons and clearing stuff at this point.
Yep, might be picking up that Naga Bromide at some point too. That can be turned in for one of each tab. Change from vanilla, where it's just a magic tab.
So the back side of Cathedral, which Fitz didn't do, going all the way down to Yakura and freeing the queen there, gives you another character, access to the character that is in the bedroom in this castle. And so Fitz is checking what the item for Xenon Bridge is going to be.
And it's the gate key.
Gate key. Yeah.
All right, so the gate key, that's going to open up prehistory and the end of time, and antiquity, actually. Not Zeal, but it opens up the gates to the, Ice Age blighted planet.
Yeah, so you could do Mount Woe if you wanted.
Yeah. Sometimes runners will simply peek Xenon Bridge if the item there is something that you don't really have a use for. Like, if it was the Moonstone right now, the Moonstone requires access to prehistory and the future, and you have to have done the Prism Shard quest, so you need that item, and you need Marl. What I'm saying is, if it had been the Moonstone, resetting would have been completely prudent, but the gate key is going to get Fitz a lot of good stuff very quickly, so I think any runner would complete this.
Yo, speaking of a lot of good stuff, can I read some donations here?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Please do. We've got some bites.
Excellent. All right, cool. We have a $5 donation from Margaret Ann that says, "Everyone is Edward. Everyone's the bard who is kinda spoony. Everyone is Edward. I'm gonna hide before Natara finds me." we have a $10 donation from Possum that just says Ziggy, 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 and that is going towards naming Edward Ziggy in for the Final Fantasy IV runs that we have coming up later on. We have another $15 donation, again from Margaret Ann, and this one says, "Don't trash the mountain. Keep ordeals clean and pristine by throwing Mylon Z into the deep ravine." Or the trash can. Wait, how does it work again? I guess I'll find out later. And then we also have a $5 donation from Kabarak, and that was the one that was used to name the second character here in Chrono Trigger. So thank you all very much for those donations, folks.
So I noticed chat talking a bit about a Robo showing up with his really excellent damage. Well, one of the things we have set in this game is Gear Randomizer. So some of our high-end weapons can actually have some of the high-end effects that Robo's weapons had. So we'll see what we get and if any of those come to play. We've got the R series here for our Xenon Bridge battle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, R series can be a real interesting boss. As they are 4 targets, their hit points for the boss spot, which is generally where the bosses inherit their strength from, will be lower. So with something like Mega Bomb,
love to see that.
Haste specs are beautiful.
That
is the prism specs item, but with haste.
Yes. Haste specs are very gorgeous.
It does mean that the damage increase effect from the prism specs could be somewhere else.
That's true. Alright, we're turning in our Naga at Bromide to get those extra tabs. So a lot of runners link it right here at the end of this bridge because you're just right here. Easy to do. Yep, and I suspect Fitz is going to go use that gate key now.
Absolutely.
So the gate key is used in present, over at the village, over at the cupboard, where if you've played the game you come out of after you've been to the future. Getting a little snack, and then popping in that cupboard. Mm-hmm. This will take him to the end of time where he can actually unlock magic, and it will unlock. If you haven't unlocked all 3 techs for someone who, like Frog or Luca, it'll automatically unlock that. So the earlier you can get to end of time, the better.
Absolutely, especially with characters who need to learn magic. And there absolutely are seeds where the gate key won't show up for ages, and you have to deal with your early techs. I'm sure, especially with those weak ethers, Fitz is happy to be going to end of time and unlocking more techs with Frog and Luca than he would be otherwise. Frog Specchio.
Yeah, means you got there before, I believe, level 10.
Mm-hmm.
We'll all think magic together as we run around this room. If you were ever part of Camp Specchio, we have some really awesome Think Magic shirts designed by the wonderful Lord Batsy here.
Thank you.
I love my shirts. I wear them all the time. my first camp shirt is starting to wear out.
Yeah, I've worn mine out a bit too.
So yeah, we try to regularly we might have to look at doing one soon. It's about that time.
Yeah.
It's a great way to get started. It's usually a multi-week sort of thing where each week someone demos a new seed or new sets of flags, and then everybody in the group who's in camp goes and runs theirs. Oh, I see we accidentally took the fight.
Might have been on purpose, but it might just be for swag.
Maybe it's swag. We'll see.
It seemed like he was hesitating on the decision a little bit, so that's why I was like, wow.
I'm gonna go see if we can get early Specchio down here and just get some extra.
Specchio, like everyone else, will have a drop. And there's Blaze Kick, actually, so that was a good call, because when you unlock the single text that you need for a double tech, those two characters still have to finish a battle together to properly learn that double tech. So there's Blaze Kick. Good going, Fitz.
Yeah. I was never any good at beating Specchio, but he can get real mean at higher levels.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so there's a few options open for Fitz now. He has dungeons in basically every time period that's open. He's opened up. We have 1,600 already open. He's got the prehistory is open. Then he's got other things as well. So
yeah, prehistory is open, as well as Mount Woe in 12,000 BC. Might be dipping into Sunken Desert for some treasure. You do need Robo in your party to complete the Sunken Desert check and get the key item from it.
So you may notice that there are -1s or +1s or numbers like that on the items. That's the gear randomizer. Batsy, you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, so the gear randomizer is one of our relatively newer flags. But what it does is it takes the gear, well, obviously the gear, weapons, accessories, armor, things like that, and it both shuffles around special effects, so things like, for example, the haste specs that we found, those would have had the prism specs effect on them in vanilla. They've gotten haste instead. That's still pretty good, nobody's complaining. And weapons and other gear can also roll. What you'll see is, a -1 or a +1. It actually can go up or down to 4, I believe. There's the blackmail +2, for example. And that +2 kind of denotes that blackmail is 2 standard armor deviations. These are all fuzzy numbers, but it's sort of how I think about it. But that's 2 standard armor deviations stronger than a regular blackmail. That is significant. I mean, because to me, the colored mails are 1 level too low for surviving Lavos reliably. But a +2 on a colored mail, you should be good. That's endgame. If you have to, you can finish. But, so in addition to the additional or decreased power, the effects can get rolled around. You can get +2 magic, you can get +6 magic. We do have Ayla, which means her fist, which levels up automatically, also rolls a random effect. It could be strength, it could be stamina.
Could be magic defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And you'll notice that a lot of the items that we picked up here in the desert are pretty good for being in the opening areas that you have access to. It's got really good item treasure levels. So the levels of the treasure are binned, and depending on the difficulty of each dungeon, we can get better items for specific dungeons.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, exactly. The Sunken Desert is probably the best treasure that you don't have to do anything to unlock.
You just have to be able to either avoid all of the fights or be able to take out the fights or run away from them if you want to be a little more risky.
Mm-hmm. And there's a decent amount of experience and TP off of these fights, and especially with magic unlocked, the tech points aren't going to be wasted on Luca and Frog. Everybody's getting the full benefit, so we're probably going to start seeing more techs near the end of the desert grind. And if not, we'll probably see them very quickly in the next check.
Yeah, Fitz did a great job going around and avoiding these fights when picking up the chests originally, and then loaded himself up with that good new equipment, and now is clearing them out for those.
Mm-hmm.
The desert grind is a very popular grind to do early. One of the thought processes is, if you are able to, go and kind of do the highest dungeon you can, because you will get more XP and TP out of it. and then you can clear everything else faster. So while it might be slow to get through that higher level dungeon, it can be beneficial overall for your speed if you're racing.
Very true. And the thing about high-level dungeons, too, is that, yeah, they can be slow, but again, you just need to know what you need. For example, Sunken Desert, everything is quite weak to water. So if you have Ice 2 or Water 2, or even like Ice Water, if you had Marl and Frog together, that would clear desert fights. And it's similar to other checks, like Mount Woe can be really rough, but what do you need? You need a character with a screen-wiping tech who's faster than the enemies. And so if you think about it that way, sometimes you just have what you need, and that's a really good way to do a check that might seem like it's too hard right now.
So Fitz got Fire Whirl, which is actually a really neat tech. It uses Ayla's magic damage for a lot of its basis, and if you give her enough tabs, it can be really, really good. Ah, I see. Fitz is actually doing what we've just talked about, is heading towards Mount Woe.
Yep.
He does have a number of screen clears, so this should be pretty straightforward for him to go through and do.
Absolutely.
And he'll come out of this pretty strong. Oh, our lapises are magical. That's cool. So the lapis usually heals everyone. In this case, it's going to give everyone MP if you use it. That is one of the ways that the healing item randomization can affect it.
Looks like 24 MP. And that can be really useful, for one, when those regular ethers are kind of weak. I believe that means that mid-ethers are a little bit weaker too. I believe that means they're also 24. But it also highlights, different categories require slightly different tactics, and because healing item rando can do such bizarre things to your items, you have to pay a lot more attention to your support party members than you might otherwise. And so having picked up Frog, for example, with Magic Unlocked is beautiful, because there's your healer. Because you can't use lapises. Here is a beautiful firewall.
See that lovely damage numbers coming out there. It's going to free everyone up. They've got lots of good speed on Hila and Luca right now from the tabs. And the power tabs were lovely at +4. So that's another thing that can be randomized, is how much points those tabs give.
Yes, that is true. Power tabs by default will roll between 2 and 4, magic between 1 and 3, and speed is always 1 because that is powerful enough.
Would this be a good time to come on here with a donation?
Perfect. Yes, go ahead.
Awesome. Very good. We have a $5 donation. It is from Lady Ariana. And she says, the music in Chrono Trigger is such a jam, it makes me want to do the E.T. dance. Steppy, steppy, steppy. Might as well put this toward naming Cecil E.T., because what is a Final Fantasy game without a little chaos? Also, I am hungry, so here is a pie-coup, just because I can. Blueberry, apple, banana cream, Boston cream, strawberry rhubarb. So, thank you very much for that donation.
That was delicious.
and the haiku and whatnot. And also want to take a minute here to kind of remind you folks watching just what it is that you're donating for. First of all, there is the incentives that are coming up, and as Ari has just done here, she has named one of the characters in the upcoming Final Fantasy IV runs. That's right, there's 2 of them. We have a Paladin percent and then a Pixel Remaster any percent. So you'll want to stick around for those. You'll also want to make your donations to name certain characters. There are plenty to choose from. So I'm sure there are several that don't even have any money towards them at all yet. So be sure to check those out if you want to get a name in there. But then, moreover, your donations, every single dollar donated here is being rerouted to Take This. take this as a mental health or nonprofit, and their main mission is to inform the gaming community about mental health issues, provide education on different disorders and prevention techniques, and reduce the overall stigma around mental illness. Now, their motto, take this, that is support community and mental wellness. Now, this is because it takes both the appropriate support, including the healthy work and home environments, the clinical support, and the opportunities for self-care, as well as the supportive community to build the resilience everyone needs for mental well-being. So all of the money that is being raised here is obviously going towards a very worthwhile cause. And speaking of money raised, we're almost at 1,000.
That's awesome. So.
Sorry. I got caught off there real quick. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I am back. Something with my computer. I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway, what I was going to say is that we are very, very close to the $1,000 mark so far for the marathon. So, who would like to be the one to make the donation to get us to the four figures there for what we're trying to raise here all week long? I would love to see it and read that one off as well.
So I noticed a question in tech about the display formulas. Yes, so the beta does have a lot of information set up to display when you're running very quickly to make it just easier to see what an item does, what your tech does, which is also really, really helpful if you, say, play with the tech damage rando, which exists as well. If you can see the formulas for a given spell or what gets added to them to work through that. But sadly, Multi-World doesn't have it integrated yet. Hopefully in the future on our next round of releases, because the current tech and gear gear randomization uses the on our regular one uses the original one, which is a little bit different. There's been some tweaks to kind of make it a little bit more balanced in the beta. And you're seeing all those levels that Fitz getting from going here. Lots of good items here in Mount Low, as well as some of those rubble fights, which he's taking a few of them.
Indeed. Honestly, at this point, once Fitz is done with this dungeon, you probably don't have to worry about your strength in the seed pretty much at all. Like, this is gonna boost you to where you need to be. So that's why this is a really good move.
You may also notice Fitz menuing in before running. It turns out that if you hold run while you're in the menus, it'll still process that run command. So it's a good way to avoid getting any hits, because if you've got it set for wait mode, you can get running and not hurt yourself.
Yep. I think you can do the same thing in a lot of the SNES era Final Fantasies as well. The menu and run trick. Chrono Trigger doesn't have a lot of the weight tricking you can do from those games, but it does have that.
Can I jump back in here real quick?
Absolutely, please do.
Okay. So one last thing that I want to mention before my computer did something really weird and cut me off mid-sentence was that we also have prizes that our donors are eligible to win. All you got to do is donate any amount during the marathon, and it gets you eligible not only for the grand prizes, but also for the daily prizes. Now, today being Monday, we do have two prizes available to you. They are both Steam keys. One is for a game called Block Legend, and the other one is for one called This Means Warp. So if you would like to get one of those Steam keys, all you got to do is donate. Any amount, doesn't have to go towards an incentive, doesn't really matter, just get you eligible there. Now, if you donate at any point during the marathon, that also gets you eligible for a grand prize that will be, like I said, cumulative throughout the week. That grand prize is going to be a set of some cross-stitch kit. They're described as nerdy cross-stitch kits. So you can get a bunch of those. Looks like there's like a Goomba, a Game Boy, a Super Nintendo controller, as well as some others there. And in addition to that, there are 4 surprise Steam codes that are going to be available as well in that prize. So those were contributed by Possum Coffee and Margaret Ann, respectively. So thank you very much for those. And yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Oh, breaking news here. We have received a donation that does get us exactly to that $1,000 mark that I was asking for. It is a $27 donation from Aclarin that says, here's to $1,000. Keep up the great work. That also went towards the trash can glitch for the Final Fantasy IV Paladin % run. So thank you very much for that. Thank you everyone who has donated so far to get us to $1,000. And I suppose now it's on to 2,000. So let's get working towards that. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, let's keep it up. Great work, everybody. Fitz continues to work his way up Mount Woe, taking out these fights. It can be a little rough here and there sometimes, but he'll get up there and we'll see what boss he's got at the end of the run.
Yeah, the gargoyles are very fast, and the fact that this is almost the top of the mountain, the fact that it took this long to knock somebody out is a testament to how well Fitz is doing, despite coming up here with like maybe slightly less speed than ideal, which sometimes you just gotta do. So doesn't mean it's a bad decision.
No, almost all of the time, some of the races we watch, people will do really well by going up to Mount Woe early. So it tends to be a thing the community likes to do overall.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, and it looks like we've got some other donation goals for Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. So get those donations in, and let's keep that fundraising going. So lots of good items, lots of healing MP regain items for this run in Mount Woe. I think an Aeon Helm as well. And let's see who we have here.
Yes, normally this would be Giga Gaia. Probably it's not. There's always a chance it's the vanilla boss. But it's not.
Ah, one of the slashes. Regular slash.
Regular slash. Regular slash, as opposed to super slash, which is the form he takes in Ozzy's Fort. Regular slash's defenses are better than super slash's. Otherwise, they're basically the same. Super slash... First of all, well, let me put it this way. Regular slash is immune to water damage and has higher than average magic defense. Super slash has neither of those things. So we like to see super slash.
So we gotta use a little bit more physical focus here while we do it. Those triple kicks cost a lot of MP, so... But not doing too much damage overall to the party, so... Mostly just a matter of getting him down, which, with that blaze kick, should happen decently quickly. As I say, as he one-shots Frog.
Yeah,
he can do that.
When Slash's HP gets low, he begins counterattacking everything with that particularly nasty sword hit that took out Frog there.
I believe it is at half HP, is that right?
I think so.
And this is the reason that we look for a few of those revives at the beginning, because sometimes you won't get any of them dropped throughout, so you want to make sure you can grab a few. A nice defensive move there to make sure that he doesn't counter on Ayla.
There we go.
And about was about, if needed, capitalize on that low-level frog using Frog Squash. Or low frog.
Low HP,
yeah.
But that would have been pretty cool, too.
Yeah, just a few levels there. We've got a question in chat about Slash being weak to Cyclone. I don't know.
I'm trying to recall the in-game text, but using okay, yeah, you're right about the Masamune one. Using the slash they're referring to in that case is Chrono's Tech slash, which is Wind slash in the newer translations on Masamune. We'll see if we see them later in the run. They can charge up an energy whirl that you can dissipate with Chrono slash. I love seeing that beefcake, so I hope he shows up.
There's a rock location that's here, and since we have gear randomizers, sometimes a additional ability can land on the rocks, and can be quite powerful. So occasionally it's worthwhile to check those out and grab them on your way through.
Yes, the rocks are considered like ultimate tier accessories, so they are shuffled accordingly.
Right, we're going into Reptite Layer, which is pretty nice, straightforward, quick dungeon to get you a good tech, and also gives a good amount of XP. And since we've done Woe and are decently leveled at this point, Fitz should have no problem clearing everything super quick.
Mm-hmm.
And Fitz is trying to see if he can get a dig in the corner. Reset a few times. You can get much better treasure if you can get them to dig in that lower left-hand quadrant of this room. Oh, success! Nice! Yeah. Second try. That's some good randomization there.
I usually give myself about 60 seconds to get a dig, and I usually get a dig. Oh, that Giga Arm +2, if we had Robo, would be so good. But often the treasure down here is absolutely worth the little bit of time that you sacrifice upstairs to get a dig.
I tend to just have bad luck overall, so I tend to just check 2 or 3 times and move on. Or if I get a dig, it will be not in the location.
I try to run to the bottom right side of the top room. This is complete superstition on my part. I'm sure this does nothing, but I always run over there to try to position my party to trap the one bug down in the corner so that he'll dig in the right spot.
Oh, does that work? I don't know.
I don't think it actually works, but I always feel like it works, so I can't stop doing it.
There was a message in chat. All of these ones on the right-hand side on this dig don't actually have key items, if I recall, Batsy, because if you're doing Chrono Sanity, because of the renege on that.
Yeah, any area that you can't revisit, or it would be a huge pain to revisit, like some of the Reptite Layer tunnels won't have key items in Chrono Sanity mode, which we're not playing today, but that puts key items in treasure chests along with everything else. They can be on bosses, it's just much rarer.
I play a lot of that because I play a lot of Archipelago, of which this game is integrated in as a beta currently. So you can play it, but it's not fully supported. There are a few small bugs to work out in regards to that.
Ooh. All right, so this new is actually Guardian, because the Guardian's actual body, I believe, is made up of background tiles, and that's why you can't move it from room to room. You need, like, a sprite to do that. But otherwise, it operates just the way the Guardian always does.
Which, unfortunately, I believe Guardian is immune to fire.
Yes.
Or very not... it's very strongly against fire, at the very least.
It is in fact immune. The bits aren't, but Guardian itself is. Which means Blaze Kick and things are kind of off the table. The Guardian does also counterattack anytime you hit it and any of the bits are still up. But as we can see, Fitz strategically took that Shadow Elemental attack onto Ayla wearing the black armor, so it healed her. That's the way.
This is the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those elemental armors can be really helpful throughout your run. If you're able to see some of the bosses before they show up, or if, say, you're going and doing Zeal, a lot of her harder attacks are elemental based, so...
Guardian doing its laser attack. So in vanilla, when you take down the bits, Guardian will just sit there and count down until it brings them back. It will not do that in Jets of Time. But luckily, it usually goes down pretty quick. Ooh, dropped a Ruby Armor +3. Ruby Armor's high tier, so, like, just anything that good, I'm always excited to see. Got an Prism Shard. Okay.
What did we get at the top of Mount Woe? I forgot.
We got the pendant.
Oh, pendant. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, you can't use the Prism Shard without Marl. But, and we haven't seen Marl. We haven't seen Robo either. The two characters who notoriously gate some key item checks. But that said, Fitz has a great party and still has plenty of options. So, you know, it's entirely possible. We don't need to chase that Prism Shard at all. Probably preparing to do Hecarim Cave at this point, which is a fairly low-level check. Since Fitz was able to do higher-level checks in the beginning, this is going to go pretty quick.
I have a preference for running this dungeon because you can get lots of tech points. So if you have a party where you don't need to unlock techs, such as Ayla, right? Or if you've just unlocked techs, I tend to like to go here because you can clear them out with a screen clear really quickly. Everything's pretty vulnerable to magic.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Robo and Magus are the other characters who will learn all their techs without visiting Specchio.
Magus is interesting because he takes a lot to learn his first tech. So
yes.
If you first get him, he's usually just physically attacking and, throwing healing items to start off. But once he gets going, obviously he has lots of spells. Mm-hmm. He's been a little bit readjusted in this. I believe we reduced the cost of his Elemental 2 spells, right? Like his Fire 2, Ice 2.
Yeah, those are cheaper, as well as, I think, a little less powerful. Well, I forget if that's vanilla.
I think that's default that they're less powerful in vanilla, but they were originally the same cost. So we reduced the cost to kind of make it a little more balanced. Fitz is ignoring most of the treasure here because the treasure is pretty low tier, not particularly worth it, and we are not in front of sanity, so keeping us moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if this is one of the first dungeons you're doing after picking up your third character, for example, opening all the treasure chests would be a great call. You might get some absolutely mid-tier stuff, but at the beginning, mid-tier is great, right? So... But I think having been at Mount Woe definitely mitigates that. Mount Woe has some of the better treasure that you'll find in the randomizer.
Yeah, Mount Woe, Genodome are some of the high tier in dungeons.
Right. Good call here. We got Nizbel. Nizbel is the boss originally of Reptite Lair. He can be stunned with light elemental magic, which this party doesn't have any. But even without the stun, you can still damage him normally with magic damage.
Yep. If you have a physical party and don't have strong magic damage, you will need that stun in order to do any sort of damage to him. But
Yes.
quick work being made, as you can see.
Beautiful.
That early Mount Low climb, making a big difference. A lot of people right here get a little confused with the randomizer because you expect to get the item, but the item is actually over at Luca's house, which we will end up by after this.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you come by Luca's house after, I believe, forging the Masamune, sometimes the father will give you some more high-tier items.
Yes, forging the Masamune and charging the Sunstone, I believe, is the other.
That's the other one. I can never remember that one. I tend to not do the Sunstones, so you know.
Fair enough. And the item from that was the Grand Leon +1. So the Grand Leon is the upgraded Masamune. That is not a progression item, but it is a +1 ultimate weapon. And Frog is in the party, so like
I like to see
that mad. So yeah.
Now Melchior here at Millennial Fair is always guaranteed to have shelters and revives, so that you can always make sure you can get them. Which is very, very helpful.
Yes. And Melchior also has a mid-tier weapon for the 5 characters, none for Ayla because she doesn't use them, and none for Magus because all of Magus's weapons are endgame.
And here's a little shout out to some of our racers. We have a number of places in the game where people who have run tournaments are added to there, and that's one of them. Thanks for showing that off, Fitz.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, those racers are the top 4 of our last tournament, the Cadillac Cup. Asterisk cries in 5th place.
Oh.
It's okay. Someday.
You do so much better than me. I am a strong community member. I am not a strong runner. I love this game so much, and I play a lot of it, but I don't go fast. Betsy, on the other hand, goes fast.
I try.
Look at those big punchies from Anna.
Beautiful.
Or, sorry, Akira. No, it's Moon. I can never keep the orders correct when they start changing the names. It can get particularly confusing when you start using character randomizer, which, I guess it's called duplicate characters is the flag. And what it allows is, instead of having one of each character, each possible character can be pulled from the same list of characters. So you could end up having 2 Lukas or 2 Frogs or other things like that. And there's actually a few extra double texts that were added to support that.
Yes, there's some really interesting stuff if you get into character rando and duplicates. I believe that, Luca can do, I forget, in some cases, Luca gets point flare. 2 Marls can get haste all. 2 Frogs, I think, it gets you hexagon mist.
2 Frogs does give you hexagon mist. I think Luca gives protect all.
She does do protect all, yeah.
Yeah. Double Chrono, I think it's X/, right?
Oh, yes. Double Chrono is X/, but it's not called X/. It's called Chrono Cross.
Chrono is someone I tend to not get a lot because, again, with my bad luck, I never get a good enough weapon for him, and his power is really weapon dependent.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. He's a great character if you have a good sword for him. Like the Rainbow Chrono is probably better than having Ayla in your party. But like mid-tier sword Chrono is absolutely not better than having Ayla in your party. But that's what's fun about randomizers is you gotta, you weigh the likelihood of these things showing up. obviously Fitz just has Ayla and really good power tabs, and I would be happy with that too.
Also more speed tabs. We love speed tabs.
Always pick it up. Gold Rock Plus. That means it's got a bonus effect on it, and Frog can wear that Gold Rock. Yeah, shout out to the mountains, which are nice.
Nice, gives shield. Nice thing to have. Certainly doesn't hurt.
We see Ayla's fist randomization is magic, actually, which powers up those tailspins and Fire Whirl. Yeah,
that's just delicious. Fire Whirl games, they're not as common, but when you can do it and pump Ayla's magic up, they get really juicy and delicious.
Yeah, Fire Whirl is wonderful, and again, because it pierces defense because it contains Tailspin. So it does extra damage to bosses like Nizbel, to some of those elevator fights in the Ocean Palace with the Jinn and the Bargus. You can pierce their shields. If you know where to use it, it's incredible.
Yeah. As we make quick work of Masamune, onto Masamune. Well, onto whoever is going to be here.
Yes, the twins are never randomized, but whatever they turn into is. And it looks like it's Rust Tyranno.
I know. I don't know. It's going to be real tricky.
Rust Tyranno, the quote-unquote tricky thing about Rust Tyranno, which is probably not going to give Fitz any issues here, is that Rust Tyranno always has more HP than the spot would dictate. It gets like 175%, I think. I always forget how to do the math, but it's chunky and it will count down, and most of the time you can kill it before it breathes fire on you. But if you don't, you will probably not be happy.
Getting a +3 helm out of that.
Nice.
MP being the constraining stat for him right now with those techs and the low amount that you kind of get for them. One more, probably just one more Fire Whirl would probably be sufficient.
Yeah, there we go.
Chat commenting on the lack of body. Yeah, the body is part of the background, it turns out. So when we randomize it, it just moves the head.
Yep. It's like Guardian, except Guardian doesn't have like a sprite on its head, so we use the new. If we see Giga Gaia will also be reduced to a teeny head and some big beefy lobster hands. It's amazing.
Yep. Spin to win. You're right, Fitz.
The Robo's Ribbon.
Again, another item that isn't a progression, but a really great item if you have Robo in your party.
Which, unfortunately, we don't. But
we may see the Hero's Medal at some point for Frog. That's equivalent sort of item. Hero's Medal does open a check, though.
Yes. Hero Medal and Robo's Ribbon in Jets of Time, they're both equipable accessories. Well, in Vanilla, the Hero Medal was equipable and the Ribbon was not. The Ribbon gives Robo the extra speed and magic defense like it does in Vanilla, and it gives him, I believe Robo's the one that gets Sunshades, the 25% extra damage, and Frog's Hero Medal is the one that gives Prism Specs 50%.
I believe that's correct. Though I guess in the Gear Rando that can shift around as well.
That's true. The Gear Rando can mess with that.
So we've got the pendant. This is what opens the future. You turn yourself in and you skip the trial entirely and immediately get, sent to prison. You do the prison breakout, and then you have access to the future.
Mm-hmm. And if you like to do the silliest thing possible with the prison sequence, yes, you can absolutely get Marl arrested for stealing her own necklace.
You just want to make sure that whatever character you're bringing can do, I believe, about 100 damage in a melee hit for taking out those guards quickly.
Yep. The guards have 100, so you want a single attack that does 100, and maybe a screen clear for the double fights. Ayla is really fast, so she is a character you can go in here without a screen clear and be fairly safe on those double guard fights.
And at the level we're at, not really an issue here.
Yeah. If you come here near to the beginning of a run, you do need to be a little bit careful. It's not too bad, but it can get a bit dicey if you're not watching what you're doing.
Boss, you get pendant right away and decide to open the future immediately. The boss can be a little more touchy.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, correct. The ribbon doesn't get absorbed by Robo in Jets of Time, but it does more than it does in vanilla. So it's still pretty good.
Well, I'll go ahead and take this opportunity here to remind all of you watching that you are currently watching Speedrun Ragnarok 2024. It is the flagship event for the RPG Valkyries, and we are raising money for Take This. If you would like to make a donation to help contribute to the cause, please do so. We've got all kinds of prizes and incentives and all kinds of good things that you can put your money towards. So do consider making a donation if you can. And like I said, every dollar donated goes toward Take This, and we really appreciate all of your participation.
And we just saw, Fitz making sure that there isn't a time loop by rescuing his ancestor Fritz. We can't have any paradoxes.
Nope. Always gotta save Fritz. What saving Fritz actually does in the game is it's two things. With Chrono in your party, which we haven't seen him yet, but with Chrono in your party, Fritz will give you 10 mid-ethers at his shop, which can be quite valuable. And the other thing that it does, which mostly affects vanilla, is that if you have saved Fritz in the past, there is a note in the sewers in the future that talks about how to survive without startling the monsters down there.
Oh, that's the note where the note comes from. Mm-hmm. I've always saved him, so I never knew that there wasn't that note otherwise.
Yeah, that's where that is. So we got to keep Fritz in the timeline. It's important.
Hey, it's nice and vanilla with Luca rescuing you. It's always funny having, Robo say, let's blow this joint or something. Mm. Okay, so we'll get to see the randomization at this spot as well.
Yes, this is one of our newer boss rando spots. If you haven't played in a while, for a while, Dragon Tank was always the boss here, but that is not the case anymore.
Oh, Dalton.
It's Dalton.
Dalton being a butthead, in my opinion.
Yeah, so this is Dalton Plus. Regular Dalton is not in the randomizer because he's a wimp. Dalton Plus is not a wimp.
But he does follow a predictable pattern.
Yes, his pattern is always the same. Fitz is about as well equipped as you can be there. He's down because luckily there's not too much HP here. Nobody is excited to see Dalton Plus, but luckily this party was well prepared.
Yeah,
and now you know that Dalton Plus won't be in an endgame boss slot, except maybe the twin boss, but we'll get there.
Double Dalton twins is never fun.
No.
Dalton counterattacks everything you do with opposite magic, and then does, in a few rounds, some very strong hits. And even if you're high level, it can, in fact, take out that party member very quickly.
Yep.
So I've definitely had runs where I didn't properly manage double Dalton plus and had to redo that fight. Oh, single Dalton, not so bad. But,
Mm-hmm.
did we just invalidate Chrono Cross? Well, I don't know. He more or less gets sucked into the portal at the end of that anyways, so we're still good. We didn't destroy all the timelines yet.
Mm-hmm.
As you'll note, that our pendant is now charged up. That's one of the typical race flags we run with. Normally, you have to take the pendant all the way up to the top of Zeal and commune with the machine and make it glow and then bring it back down and do all this stuff. But to just kind of make it a little bit more worthwhile, we allow early pendant charge, and once you've gone through that defeated Dragon King, you can do the charging and get these items.
Yep. Since Zeal is basically an end game area in Jets of Time, once you go up there, you are not typically coming back out. We've put it here instead. Crisis B +1, probably a Crisis Bow for Marl, I would guess. Which is not
Crisis
super
Bow.
Useful. Yep.
Crisis Blade might have been nice to see, but I think we have the Grand Leon. Right?
Yeah, the Leon, I think it's just a plain Leon +1. But at least you can predict that.
Alright, we're going to go over here and grab a character.
Right.
If you get to the future and you haven't unlocked magic, one of the things you can do is to go through Factory, and it will open this door behind the character and allow you to get to End of Time, which allows you to unlock magic. But normally Factory does not have a key item at the end of it.
Correct. Factory to End of Time is certainly not considered ideal, but, sometimes it's required and sometimes it's the play. Alright, so there's Chrono.
Which Fitz was originally like, nah, I don't think I want Chrono, but maybe is grabbed just to keep him and get those mid-ethers later.
Potentially, yeah. With those weak regular ethers, I might consider it.
Yep, it's just a stop-off at some point.
Mm-hmm. Some players are very divided on saving Fritz. We get into, fake arguments over this all the time. I like to save him and leave my options open. So, if I save him and then I don't pick up the mid-ethers, then okay, that's fine. Because if I didn't pick them up, it's just because I found what I need and I'm hedging my bets. But, some people just prefer to leave them. And some people find that grabbing them is a huge boon. And, mid-ethers are pretty powerful, so I don't blame them.
Alright, we've got Yakura 13 here. Pretty straightforward boss. Most annoying bits for him is chaos that he does occasionally. So we've got chaos on Frog already. If you have protection against status effect, it's not so bad. Son of Sun is a decently high-level spot. I believe has about 6k HP or so.
6.5, I think, yeah.
Thank you.
This is one of the toughest spots outside of any go mode spots, I think. So depending on who appears here, it can get pretty nasty. We hate seeing Dalton here. We hate seeing Flea here. Yakura's not too bad, though. Either of them.
Yeah, especially with the high level that Fritz is right now. Easily handled.
Yeah, the one thing about Yakura 13 you have to watch out for is that death counter. But again, at high levels, it's not gonna hit you that hard. Ooh,
who's added more vanilla in our vanilla? Blah. We don't like that. An angry dance from Fritz. So now, because we do have the past open, do you go do it? Do you go drop it off?
We don't have Marl.
Right.
She's... Well, okay, where have we not looked?
We've not looked at
back
back
of
of Cathedral.
Burrow and maybe Dactyl?
We haven't looked at Dactyl either, so...
Yeah. Alright, so...
And we still have a couple of dungeons we could do, right? There's Eris Dome is still available. Chino Dome is still available. So there's some key item checks.
Yeah, there are a couple things open, but it looks like Fitz is going to start looking for characters to open stuff up, because that's what's at the top of Dactyl Nest, is a character. They will be the same strength as the character in Protodome, which is to say those are the 2 strongest pickup spots.
Yeah, they start at level 15 and 3 techs unlocked. So if you get there early, it can be really worthwhile to grab a high-level character. I've definitely used that as a way of supplementing my strength early game.
And if you get super early gate key, you can totally come here and grab the character before you swing over to End of Time. So, because there's a decent chance this character will need it, you know, depending on which characters you have, you can weigh the odds of it, but can be pretty useful.
It's going for this pixel perfect skip here.
There we go.
There it is.
That skip and the next skip, which is mechanically very similar, are some of the toughest ones to pull off in the game. They are in fact pixel perfect, and 1 pixel off and you're gonna run into something nasty. But
Awesome
Fitz
job.
did that one super clean. That was great. But there's Robo.
Which is not who we wanted, but it does allow us to now clear desert. Get that check off. So that's good. So we have back at Cathedral, and we still have
Burrow is where the other
Burrow,
character
that's
is.
right.
But we don't have the second piece of the sword for that character, because the character that is in Frogsborough, you need to give them the repaired Masamune, and then they'll join your party. We can see who it is, though, so depending on if Fitz feels the need to know where people are, he might peek down there. Dropping off the Moonstone.
and in this case, you don't have to do the whole jerky exchange thing. Jerky is a key item, but it basically just makes it gives you another high level item.
Jerky gives you high level treasure. Yeah, it's been separated from the Sunstone quest, so once you have that set up, you can just go past to future and grab it. All right, and we are indeed going down into the burrow to see who's here.
And there's our
Marl.
Marl. So
All
that
right.
tells us that we need the sword in order to unlock her, which means we
Yes.
can't do prison quests, we can't do Sunstone.
Yes, those are all behind that other piece of the sword. And when we find that other piece of the sword, we'll have go mode. But that's, in a way, that's good because it gives us and Fitz a lot of information. And we just picked up Robo, who's required to clear this one. And so this is absolutely, I think, the call right now, you know?
Yep, definitely.
No Marl, check Robos.
Yeah, there's it basically means that either here or Genodome has the sword, I think, at this point.
I think so. Aristum.
Oh yeah, Auristone as well. So there's still a few more checks, but because we could still also get future go mode through Omen.
Mm-hmm. There's Masamune.
There's your chubby boy.
This is like, I mean, like, eternal shoutouts to Akira Toriyama, but like, this is one of my favorite characters of his. I love these guys.
But yeah, again, quick work being made of this. Usually this is a dungeon done at the end of the game time period, but it's tuned slightly since it's in 1000 AD to be accessible decently early. I think it's low teens is what it's aimed for.
Yeah, I think so. It's one of those dungeons that's an endgame dungeon, but in vanilla you actually can come here as early as your first visit to Zeal if you talk to the right people.
That's true. Get that nice tab on our way up.
Yep. That will not be there till the boss is gone. Right. Swapping in both Chrono and Robo suggests that after the Robo drop-off, we might be grabbing those mid-ethers from Fritz.
Oh yeah, we're looking for that other piece of the sword, and we got the clone. We need the Chrono Trigger?
Yeah, I think so. Either way, there's only one piece missing of Black Omen Go mode.
Oof.
So
Maybe supposed
one
to be
of
like
those.
16, rough.
Yeah, that is rough. That's not even a blaze kick. Or a triple kick, whatever. But I like healing item rando even when it's difficult. I like the challenge it adds. You have to just think about your MP management in such different ways.
Yeah, you can't just fall into the same habit.
There's the sword.
And that's a go mode. Over here to Melchior and get that sword forged.
Yeah, looks like we're going for it.
Yeah, no, Magus' go mode, while longer, it's more easily accessible. I feel like the first couple bosses in there can be taken if you're decently low level.
Yeah. No, I think Fitz has enough level to handle Magus Castle Go mode no matter what. I'm mentioning this. I think that I would take Magus' Castle Go mode here too, but I think some runners would do one more check to see if they could find that missing clone or Chrono Trigger, whichever one it is, because Death Peak and Omen plus that check might be shorter than Magus' Castle plus Ocean Palace, but I mean that's the game, is figuring that out. Magus' Castle, if you've got full screen fire damage, you can get through there pretty good, and well, that is not in short supply here, so
Picking up that high level item.
Another swallow minus one.
Well, it's something to sell.
Chrono's sitting here just like mildly insulted.
Picking up those mid-ethers we talked about earlier. Power seals are nice, but expensive.
Put the cat again.
We want to make sure our cat knows we love it. All right, so now we're gonna go do that go mode. Yeah, with Luca in the party, it is very quick to clear through. Other mountain. There we are. Definitely
they all
have
look
done
the
that one
same.
before.
It's yeah. They do look the same. It's the same tiles. Anyway, to open up Magus' castle, you reforge the sword and bring Frog here.
Music's so good. All right, so we'll start this dive at Magus's castle. Got a good amount of levels at this point. We get a few from the bosses as we go through. And I probably wouldn't even expect to see much grinding later in Ocean Palace. There's a good grind spot that people will sometimes stop by and get to a place where they're sure that they're going to not have any trouble with lavas.
Yeah, for sure. We'll watch for menus from here on. That'll give us a clue. But with those high-level checks done earlier, I can't imagine that the levels are at all low.
No. And almost all of this will be pretty easy and straightforward for Fitz to get through.
Well, while Fitz is going through some easy and straightforward stuff, I want to talk to you folks about what we've got coming up throughout the course of the day here on Speedrun Ragnarok 2024. Right now you're watching a Chrono Trigger Jets of Time run. After this is going to be an interview with Dr. B from Take This, being done by Keishara, and they're going to be talking about mental health and the gaming industry. And I think that's a very important topic, especially for those of you that are interested in new games being released, how their devs and their staff are treated and whatnot. That should be a very interesting conversation. And then as far as the speedrunning goes for the rest of the day, you're going to get double the Final Fantasy. You're going to get a Paladin percent run being done by Natara. That is going to be followed immediately afterwards by a Final Fantasy IV Pixel Remaster any percent run being done by RPG Chick. And then our last run of Monday is going to be a Poke percent run of Earthbound being done by Sushikishi. So those are great classic RPGs, including the one that we're watching currently. So this, for those of you that are fans of Super Nintendo era RPGs, Monday here at Speedrun Ragnarok has you covered. Speaking of those runs that are coming up, specifically for the Final Fantasy IV runs, there are still plenty of bid wars for the names, some of which have yet to be touched. So if you want to throw in a few dollars into a naming bid war to get your favorite name up there on the screen, please, by all means, do that. In addition to the naming incentives, we do have that bid war. We do have the incentive for the trash can glitch, which, if you're not aware, is an extremely strange and funny way to beat a particular boss in the Super Nintendo version of Final Fantasy IV. So, if you want to see that, we still got a ways to go there. We're at $42 out of the $200 necessary there. So, not quite a quarter of the way there. So, be sure to donate towards that. And because, of course, all money donated goes towards Take This, which is a very worthwhile cause. So please get your donations in and make sure to apply them to the appropriate incentives that you would like.
And Hecarim falls in the line of duty to Magus, opening up that save point for us.
Excellent. Using some tabs. I noticed that the skeletons, prior to the Hecarim fight, dropped a silver stud. I don't know if Fitz is going to equip that, but that would cut the cost for triple kick in half.
The treasure in here is not bad, decently good. So
yeah, it's pretty good.
And so we'll go over here and do the flea spot as well. And good strategy there by Fitz, just making sure that Frog takes that MP Buster so that he has the MP to do the blaze kicks and fire whirls he's been releasing on.
But the plot twist, of course, is that the boss is Retinite. And,
Yep.
you know, this is why Rando's gonna Rando. This boss is going to be more vulnerable once hit with water elemental magic, but Frog will need MP before he can do that. Luckily, Ayla's rock throw there didn't miss. Retinite, before you hit it with water, its evasion is very high. And you can do it without water, but it can be such a pain, and we're always glad when those hits go through.
But rock throw making quick work of the... Nice. Well handled.
Right. Killed the floor.
And that middle can run away, and you'll lose a lot of tech points, but much better to get it down like that and get that extra tech.
Dropped another haste spec, so that's exciting.
Heck yeah. Love to see that. I mean, rainbow specs are great, but like, this is just so delicious. Okay, now we go into the interior. So we'll have a series of fights that Fitz will either take or run away from, depending on how he feels. Mostly, since he's pretty high level, not really worth it to take him.
Yeah, if you come in here relatively early in a run, taking some of these fights can be worth it, especially if you're low on tech points.
Yeah, I've definitely had to do Magus Castle at low level and pre-opening up magic, and that can be a bit of a slog. But we're also pretty fast characters, so able to get in that menu really quick and head out.
Yeah. I forget which name these ones fall under, but the purple genie guys, those are the fast ones you have to watch out for here. Those are the ones that'll outspeed you.
Yep. We all know that Ozzy's traps are very difficult to avoid, so good job, Fitz.
Very good job.
One thing you may not have known is that if you are not moving when an enemy is moving, it can walk right through you and won't trigger a fight.
Yeah.
This makes this part of the climb pretty straightforward.
Ooh. Oh, I think Fitz was going for the workaround, but didn't go quite to the right enough. So we've fallen into the oubliette. But there is treasure down here, so it's not that bad.
As well as, I believe, a magic tab. So
yes, there is a magic tab.
If I'm not in a rush, I'll grab it. If I'm just like doing an archipelago run or something.
Yeah. And, you know, in runs where you do get forced into Magus's castle early, coming down here on purpose can be a really good decision because, like, you need everything that you can get your hands on sometimes. Gold earrings, that's good.
Yeah, those can be helpful when you're low level, and, like, I sometimes like to toss it on Magus because they often has slightly lower hit points than everybody.
Yeah, there's tons of good uses for those. Throwing it on a character that doesn't have enough HP, or you can give it to like Ayla or Frog to increase their threshold for Dino Tail or Frog Squash.
There was a There was a comment in chat about Jets of Time being a really good randomizer to get started with on if it's something you've not done before. And I would agree with it. It's the first randomizer I got into, and it's pretty accessible to do and get through. It's got a good number of checks to go through, but it's not so big that you're going to be committing to many, many hours on your first run.
Yeah, it's pretty easy, or relatively easy, I should say, to learn the broad strokes, and then if you want to go fast, that's sort of a matter of finesse. But that, like, learning the logic, it's not bad at all.
So a nice little trick that Fitz just showed us of using the secondary and third party members to force those birds to walk off of the path, because they walk around characters, and then you can walk right by them.
I'm guessing ether for frog, as it's one of my favorite little bits of silly trivia is that this fight, the only element that will wipe all of it is water. Or if you can hit them all with non-elemental, but that is a pretty rare ability.
Yeah, those outlaws are annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Take a couple of fights here as we can't really avoid them.
Yeah. This middle fight is runnable, but the others are not.
I was not aware that this one was runnable.
Nice. No, just this one.
And we'll get these jugglers. They change their defense every time you attack. So if you use magic first, then you'll be immune to magic immediately after. So when you're lower level, you may have to juggle them a bit, hence the name Juggler.
Indeed. They have, it's like 1,000 HP, give or take. It might be like a slightly funkier number, but it's about 1,000, so that's your goal. Fire Whirl is a great call there because it will pierce defenses and do more than enough.
And you can avoid all of these fights by running around those statues.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a fight at the end there that you can also avoid by basically being fast enough and facing a little bit towards the side.
Looking for charm.
Yep. These unnamed assistants sometimes can have good items. The Photonic's not bad, given that magic is a bit of commodity. We might not want to use Frog's Heal sometimes.
Yep. But these little winch cranks will be defeated anytime they are targeted. You don't even have to hit, so you can charm them and see what they've got, and if it's something good, then you might charm all 4 of them. Like, we've absolutely seen speed tabs, we've seen, prism equipment, so...
I feel like I've seen someone had, like, rainbow specks once on it. Like, it was insane. It was super not fair. And it's very helpful because shortly after this fight, there'll be a very strong shop that we'll stop off at for the last shopping trip. And we'll prep some of the items we want for Lavos and see what is there.
Yep. Right, we're already like level 28, 29. So yeah, that's not going to necessitate a lot of grinding, if any, when we get to Ocean Palace.
There's some nice gear that we've gotten.
Yeah, equipment's good. the pluses on those color mails. Like my personal good enough for Lavos threshold for armor, for body armor, is the load vest. Anything load vest or stronger. And I feel like the colored mails are like right beneath the load vest. So if you've got a +1, then they're good.
And we'll get to see who is Magus today.
Today, Chrono is Magus.
Oh, this means his ultimate attack will be lightning-based instead of shadow-based. Which sometimes, if you're low level and you have some of those magic things, you might want to take a moment to grab and equip the ones that are aligned with the damage he'll do. I think personally for me, seeing Ayla there is the scariest, because that's a non-magical physical attack.
Yeah, Ayla's big attack is non-elemental, so there isn't anything that can let you soak it. Magus, or well, whoever replaces Magus, but the boss Magus here, he also has a random amount of hit points. I think it's something like 10,000 to 14,000, or that might be Black Tyranno's numbers, but it's somewhere in there. So you need to pay attention to the damage you're doing, because Magus changes phases at 50% HP. And so if you're paying attention, knowing what 50% HP is can be really valuable information. You kind of have to figure out on the fly sometimes if you're going to have to absorb one of those nasty attacks, because that can depend on, like, if Magus rolled high HP, then maybe you just don't have enough time to put that damage on him before he dark matters or whatever. And so that's what I really like about this fight. It really keeps you on your toes.
It certainly does. And if you come into Magus's castle when low, you have to kind of really manage this fight low.
Mm-hmm.
And even at high levels, you still have to pay attention, because he counters every attack. He's doing a constant amount of his own damage on top of it. Healing becomes healing and management of that becomes really important.
And I know we're hoping for a fire barrier so we can just, like, blaze kick him in the face, but this boss is not always kind when selecting elements, and
Yep. Chat was asking again, just to reiterate, yes, all of his abilities are regular Magus abilities. What changes is the ultimate attack, the damage of the ultimate attack, based off of the character.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be an interesting one, because as soon as Fitz gets Magus Chrono down into his next phase, as soon as he changes phases, you can start hitting him with whatever you want. So Blaze Kick will be back on the table, and he'll be doing damage a lot more quickly than the first phase. So, the question is, will that be fast enough to not eat a Luminaire or whichever one it is at all, or we don't know. Lucas got Barrier, though, and that is very helpful.
Yeah, they've got pretty high level, pretty good health. Depending on where he is, it can change. Sit here wishing for a fire. Yep.
Oh God. Pick fire, nerd.
Come on. Uh-oh. He will whittle a little bit away this way, and then very quickly chomp through his HP at the end.
Okay. So
here we go.
Yep. He's changing phases. You can tell when the phase change is coming because the counterattacks will stop. When the counterattacks stop, though, the barrier is still up, so you need to wait for him to cast the spell. It's barrier, but you just wait for that cue, and then you can use whatever you want. Once the counterattacks have stopped, if you want to get something in that little wedge of time, you can use a physical attack. That won't heal him. Yeah,
I've had some pretty good successes with a pure physical party on this one. You can use like Beast Toss, for example, works on him.
Yeah, there we go.
I see. Beautiful. Second half.
The best way to deal with Magus's ultimate attack is to not get hit by it. And the Magus boss is simply just randomized to be one of the characters. I believe it's Chrono is in Protodome, right? Because I think it's the character in the future, always in some modes. Which makes sense because in Legacy of Cyrus mode, you can't pick up the future character, so this makes sure you see character number 7. But yeah, Chrono was in Robo's spot in Protodome.
All right, onward and upward.
Yep, it'll drop you in that cave. If you don't have magic access yet, you could open that gate and go to End of Time.
Yeah, Magus Go mode is the only one of the Go modes that will open your magic End of Time access. If you're doing Tyrannolayer, you're already in the past, so it's easy to open it anyways. If you're in the future, then it's you have to do you have that Go mode. You have to do the excuse me. You have to do factory to open magic. Doing Death's Peak will not open it. All right, so we're going to go through and we're going to sell some things now so that we can buy the items that are here and cool and awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Those gold earrings and studs coming in nicely for selling.
All right, so we've got an obscene amount of money. And, well, it's not the best new shop ever, but it's not the worst because we've got Mega Elixirs. The
Mega
Amulet
Elixirs are
is
going to be
guaranteed.
real helpful.
Yeah. Amulet is guaranteed to be there because Lavos can throw status effects at you, and there is no guarantee that you will have grabbed a character that is immune to them, or, Magus comes automatically equipped with the Amulet, but obviously he wasn't picked up. Must have been back at Cath since Marl was in Burrow.
Yep. Oh, picking up one more Mega Elixir and then heading on our way out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the lower amounts for Ether, it really helps to have those Mega Elixirs.
Absolutely.
Especially for third phase of Lavos. Oh, we're solid level 30 now, so
okay,
easily to keep moving through all of this.
Alright, got Terra Mutant here, who is a little tough and annoying, but again, with Fire Whirl, this won't be too much of an issue. Terra Mutant doesn't take physical damage very well, so Fire Whirl instead of Blaze Kick is definitely the choice here.
About the only thing I like seeing more than a Firewall game is Omega Flare team.
Yeah. We've gotta love the triple tech swag.
Yeah.
Nova armor.
Just so much damage. There's a bit of a community joke and feelings around it. A couple of key races, I think one in particular, the person who got the Omega Flare came back and made up a huge amount of lost time by using the tech.
Yeah. There were prism specs involved too. It was one of those beautiful crazy coincidences where it's you have all the 7 things you needed on the table, so just grab them and run. Yeah. That's why we keep playing. We always hope that'll happen.
Yeah, it's a fun feeling when all of that gear randomization or something lines up and you get some really great combos.
Yep. If you're gonna take these guys, Fire Whirl should kill them in one shot. Otherwise, you have to kill the one before the other drops his shield normally. But not with that. If it's showing off the utility of that move, especially here in the end game.
So we'll grab a few chests because, they have good items and could be something spectacular. I mean, who doesn't like more haste specs?
Absolutely.
It was nice to see that Nova armor for Frog. That one comes with protection, so he doesn't need to wear an amulet. Usually, you at least in Lavos Phase 1, you want at least one character with status effect protection, because if you get that obstacle and it has Confuse or Sleep and it hits your whole party, it can be a bad time.
Yeah, it could just stop you in your tracks, and as mentioned, Lavos' obstacle is randomized, so the status effect it inflicts is also random. I think normally it's chaos and it can do slow and stop and sleep and all manner of nasty things here. And in Chrono Trigger, when your characters are afflicted with negative status effects, it reduces the damage they do as well. So that can really mess with you because, Lavos is all about, crunching the numbers beforehand, knowing how much damage you can output before he drops whatever nuke on you is next.
Just Fire Whirl making those quick use, clearing these screens super fast.
Mm-hmm. Taking some hits to knock Ayla's HP down for coming Dino Tail strats, no doubt. Although if it still has any gold earrings, that will help too, because, yep.
As he's already on it, yep.
Yep, beautiful. The only thing you have to remember is if you do this setup before the save point, don't use a shelter. I always have to, if I'm playing here, I'm, running down the stairs going, no shelter, no shelter, no shelter, no... Yeah.
I've personally taken to just avoiding that save spot because I know I'm not likely to wipe on the elevator if I do it. And if I do accidentally miss my setup, then I'm the elevator becomes a lot less smooth. So
yeah. Oh, it's one of those ones I have to superstitiously grab because I blew myself up in the elevator, once 3 years ago, and I'm still, scarred from the experience.
Yep.
But... No, I remind myself, and then sometimes I don't set up equipment until after the save point, so, if I did shelter, I can still put an earring on Ayla or Frog or whatever, and maybe it's still... The numbers are still good. This fight is runnable, but this is also going to tell Fitz that Dino Tail is doing enough damage. I'm sure it's good, but I understand the urge to check. It needs to do 200 of the little guys.
Ooh, power tabs. We love those. I think we saw some of those earlier on one of the fights as well. I think that grind spot specifically had power tabs, which the Fitz needed to grind. For those that aren't aware, the grind spot we talk about is at the top of the stairs. The first one you go down and you've got two of the guys with the sticks and two of the casters.
Two of the mages, yeah.
Yeah, you can clear pretty quickly with Luca, or another strong magic user. and just screen clear it real fast.
More MP for Dino Tail, because it's non-elemental, and we gotta hit the lightning scout with either lightning or non-elemental.
And this is the fight we've been prepping the Dino Tail for.
Yes. Everyone thinks about this fight as they're coming down the stairs, because these guys are really fast. I mean, as you see, like, Ayla's fast, but one of them still went first. And it is so easy for 4 of them to go before you instead, and it doesn't feel good. So, you want to have something. Dino Tail's good, Frog Squash is good, Falcon Hit will do it. If you've got Falcon Hit, Magus's Black Hole will get most of them.
Yeah, if he's in position 3, it'll get 4 of them.
Mm-hmm. Whatever your party, you gotta have a plan. Nice skip there. That's a tricky one. It's like...
Not what I've successfully done.
I wish it had haptic feedback. Like, if the controller would just vibrate a little bit when you bonk into the guy from behind, that would be perfect.
I've sometimes managed to get in correctly. I've never managed to get out correctly.
Yeah. In isn't too bad. You just have to slide yourself off the, like, edge and be walking, not running. But out, you actually have to collide with the guy, and then once you collide with him, he starts to split into 3 and do his animation, and you have to run out while that animation's going. But if you can only do the first part, I think it's still worth it.
It's such a delicious Ayla to see. Like,
yeah.
200 fist damage.
Star power. Okay, specs on Ayla. Nova armor on Frog. Alright, twin boss time. Atropos.
Oh, not too bad. It goes a bit fast, but we're pretty strong, and we'll just out DPS her, I'm sure.
Yeah, she does have a death counter, but again, this party is so leveled. I don't know that her death counter is going to be that much of an issue. If you do get something like Vanilla Golem Twins, you gotta be careful about the death counters.
Yeah, the burp can do a chunk of damage if you're low.
Mm-hmm.
We see Fitz taking them down one at a time, or getting one lower than the other. Again, for that death counter. Yeah, great use of the Fire Whirl in this seed. Love to see it. Those fun strats come out. Frog is essentially on hold for healing or helping out or doing whatever.
Yep.
Throwing some potions.
Okay, yeah. Her
counter's not
counter wasn't. Yeah, there are some you should watch out for in this spot, but
yeah,
you could have just.
I feel like there was one point when I got this one of my first seeds, and it was just it was a little bit scarier than this was. But that's before I've learned all of the cool tricks and managing everything well.
Yeah. All right. Right under the wire, we just got Drop Kick and Frog Flare, so we'll see if we see those in any of the Lavos fights.
We have been pumping up both Frog and Ayla, so Drop Kick can be real good. Doing some last prep here at the same point before we go on to Lavos.
Probably out of shelters, which happens. Sometimes I forget to buy more too.
Yeah, so we got that frog flare. You'll notice that Fitz didn't shelter, and instead healed up manually and left Frog's health decently low, because I think we are going to see that frog flare.
Yeah, this will be interesting, because I think Frog should live Lavos' first 2 attacks. Without a heal, I don't think he will live the 3rd attack, so that's got to get handled at some point. This is going to be exciting.
In team, take you out before you can take me out.
Mm-hmm.
Glass cannons go. It's definitely a valid strat for Lavos.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, those are nice triple kick values too.
So small thing Fitz did there. Obviously, he wants to kind of lead with Frog Flare, but Ayla's the one who got her menu first, and if you drop that menu, even for a frame, the enemies have time to attack. So using Ayla's turn, and then just automatically getting thrown into Luca or Frog's menu, that is good strategy. Especially, Lavos is so fast, you have to think about stuff like that.
And since we have that haste specs on Luca but not on Frog, we're gonna get a Luca turn in here before we get that Frog turn in.
Right,
There's that obstacle. See what it is. Everyone resisted it, so we're good, is what that is.
We don't know. Heal is probably the smart play right there, even though another Frog Flare would have been, like, so tempting.
Yeah, making sure Luca doesn't go down.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Well done.
Yeah.
On to phase 2 and 3.
Okay. We do have shelters that he didn't use them on purpose, which is good too. But Lavos number 2 throws a lot of damage out initially. So keeping your HP low and going into this fight for Frog Flare or Diner Tail is usually not a very good idea. There's just such a good chance that Lavos will knock you out first, and it's guaranteed that he's going to reduce your HP a little bit, because we're going to see the Doors of Doom in a sec.
There's a question from chat about Lavos not being powered up at the end of that dungeon, and yes, since 2 of our goad modes go through there, we have the same power of Lavos.
I think it is the powered up Lavos, but the rest of the game is adjusted so that you can still win. Powered up Lavos, I think, just has all his stats doubled or something. So I think that's what's going on.
Good job getting that heal in there before those boomerangs go out.
Those hurt, as you can see,
As you can see.
very badly. That's the other big reason not to come into this one with low HP. There's no real need to do that. Hurt. Interesting choice there, using Tailspin on the body. Now, the body right now is protected by the arms, so Tailspin is one of the only things that will pierce its defense. But having done the boomerangs, Fitz now has a couple of turns before the arms do that again to get them taken out. Well, they might do it again, but
they both went to Ayla, so we're in a good spot.
Yeah.
I'm using lots of Fire Whirl to hit all 3 at once.
Which is excellent because, typically in this fight you got to take out the 2 arms before you can hurt the torso, and then the torso has 10,000 HP and is on a pretty strict script to make your day really nasty. So Fitz is going to be starting that second phase with Lavos having, 6,500 HP instead, which is wonderful.
There's the start of that. That obstacle indicates that you can actually damage the head if you weren't using your Blaze Kick.
Yep.
Excuse me. Sorry, if you weren't using Fire Whirl. So.
And Chef's Kiss. That was a beautiful Lavos too. Especially that second phase.
Drop?
He's got enough megas he can just use one during the menu glitch up here.
Honestly, yeah. So there's a small period where you can get a menu glitch here. And Fitz, I'm sure, will go for it, which will allow you to enter the menu before going into the phase 3 of Lavos, giving you a chance to heal up and get ready for it. Sometimes I adjust items too, because Lavos throws so many things that take away your status protections that I often just take those off if I've got an amulet equipped.
Yeah, sometimes at this point you just want shield or something. Beautiful. You hit your menu button right as the screen goes dark, and you take advantage of the game being in, free movement state for 2 frames or whatever, and you heal. Okay.
Ooh, we're seeing left bit strats.
Open it with a drop kick on left. Yeah.
Exciting.
That will one-shot it wonderfully. Left bit has 3k HP, and whether or not you can 1 or 2 shot it, or 3 even, changes the strategy of this fight so much if you're trying to get it down. And what left bit being down means is that, so first of all, Lavos is gonna have to drop into its defense mode soon. It's gonna get this spell off, but Fitz, even worst case scenario, that's not that bad. It only hit Luca, it stopped her. Lavos has to start going into its defense off cycle, like this. And without left bit there, you can use full screen damage to hurt both the center bit and the right bit. And we'll see what he does, but I think that hurting the center bit a whole bunch, but not killing it during this cycle would be the thing to do, and then you could, murder it right after active life brings back left bit, and then you already have the defense down cycle started again.
Yeah, left bit strats are a little bit more risky because it does leave that middle bit up, and you see him going through his attacks. I imagine this one's not so bad. It does, half your HP, so it's not a problem. But if you had some of the other ones, you might choose to kill that center bit before letting it get an attack off.
Yeah, center bit, when it does time warp, center bit actually doesn't have as many scripts and options as you might think initially. And the 2 time warps it can start with are prehistoric and present. Present will start with spell. That's what we just saw. Prehistoric is Grand Stone, which will crush everybody horrifically. So, we don't like getting hit by that. But yeah, we'll see if it sticks with left bit or goes into multi-bit, which is my personal favorite. Because right now, you could probably hit the screen with Fire Whirl or something. Yeah.
Excellently done. We will get that counter.
Yep.
Which hurts, but
Yes.
we'll be all right.
Yeah, that counter does hurt, but if you know you're throwing Lavos into defense mode, and or you're possibly just like close enough to do it, I'm interested to see if Fitz feels like it needs to revive her or not, because might just be able to drop kick to victory at this point, but. GG.
There it is.
Look at that.
GG's in chat. This was a lovely run. Really awesome to see those left bit strats. Fitz, how'd you feel about this run?
I felt really. It was a fun one. Like, I had a lot of power, but I had to go to a lot of places, and I was starting to worry that all the go modes were going to be behind like Marl
Behind
in the
like
back
Prism Shard,
of the
yeah.
cathedral. But since she was in the burrow, I kind of figured once I got the go mode that I was like, I gotta just do this.
Mm.
But yeah, it was fun. I got to show off like kind of most, I think, of the good checks, and I was happy I got to go. I had the tools to go immediately to Mount Woe so that I could kind of cruise through the rest of the season.
Become super powerful. You really showed off the utility of Fire Whirl. The good Fire Whirl.
Yeah,
Well,
very nice
thank you
overall.
for
I think
the awesome run.
I hit like most of the skips I was going for. I hit one of the birds on the Donkey Kong room in Magus Castle, but like other than that, I even got the Dactyl Nef. The first one took me a little bit, but the second one I got it.
You got that
second
one
was
super
smooth.
clean, yeah.
I was pretty happy about that overall.
Yep. And you know, this was a really great to see so many. Like, I know it was more annoying to have to go to a lot of dungeons, but it was nice to get to see a little bit more of this for the showcase. And I like those left bit strats. I get too scared to do it personally.
Yeah, it's a lot
I'm definitely
riskier, so it was fun to
person.
see that.
Yeah, that was definitely a little bit scary, but I was like, I want to show off, what is. And it feels so good when it works, when it's just like perfectly
we
timed.
really appreciate that.
And then even at the end, I was like mathing, and I was like, I'm not sure, but let's just go for it and hope for the best. And so that paid off.
So GG's again. I'm looking at chat, and so yes, this is Jets of Time. It's a Chrono Trigger randomizer. You can find us at ctjot.com. And we always love having new players, and we have a lot of fun flags to play with, actually. This is a pretty straightforward role, but we do have a lot of, like, chaotic options, too. If you just want everything to be a mess. We have that. We have something for everybody.
Check us out on our Discord as well. Great community there that's happy to answer questions, and love to have people join us playing this game. Chrono Trigger is my favorite game, and I really, really love this randomizer. I think it's pretty straightforward to pick up if you're new to randomizers, and I think it's also very unique in that, like, it's multiple go modes. So there's lots of ways you're thinking while you're running of where you want to go, what you need, how you're going to do it, as opposed to kind of just knowing you're only looking for like specific one or two items, right, to get you through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, and we also do have monthly multi-worlds. Those start at the beginning of the month, so I will start the next one up on beginning of November, and we love to have you come in and join us and play Jets of Time or some other games and things like that, so we're a pretty chill bunch.
Alrighty, well, thank you all very much for the commentary from Batsy and Mirshana, and of course for that great run from onefreefitz through this seed. In fact, I have some breaking news here, folks. That run was so great, and therefore so underestimate that suddenly we have a bonus run that's going to be coming at you in just a couple minutes here. It's going to be a run of Final Fantasy XIV. How very glib percent is what I'm being told. And that's literally all I know. I don't know who's doing it. I assume I'm hosting it. So I'll get to find out in real time what this is all about. But so will you folks. So
do you just have to like sit there and listen to Alpha now? No, we'll find out. Sorry.
We will. Yes, we will. So again, Fitz, Batsy, Mirshana, thank you all very much for being here with us for this Chrono Trigger Jets of Time run. And everybody watching, stay tuned because we got some bonus Final Fantasy XIV coming for you. So please don't go anywhere.